Councilman, how do you see the race thus far? How do you feel? November's right around the corner. It's almost election day. How do you feel?
I feel great. Roberto, we had a tremendous win on primary day. It's going to give us momentum going into the general election. We are reaching out to the voters each and every day. We have a great positive message, and we're excited about our prospects on November 6th.
Is there going to be a united Queens GOP? Again, a contentious race. People said a little good for the party that you were primaried. If anything, that just made you use up resources that you could use against the Democratic opponent in November. Is there a united Queens GOP for this race?
Look, the party in the district was always united behind my candidacy. The district leaders in the Senate district were always supporting me. And if anything good came out of the primary, it's that we got increased name recognition. We got to reach out to people in the base, the Republican base of the party here in the district. And it was a good practice run for us to see where, areas we need to work on or areas where we're lacking support. And so, we are now targeting those areas very aggressively. So it was a good thing, and we think it's only going to help us in November.
3 top needs of the district, Councilman, if you were to put them in order.
Jobs, jobs, and jobs. Right now, the number one issue facing my constituents are the lack of jobs available, the state of the economy, and people concerned about not being able to keep the jobs that they already have. And so the message that a candidate or an elected official really has to project in a year like this is that we are not going to allow the state government to stand in the way of job creation, wherever that may be. That if there's an opportunity to produce good paying jobs, that we are going to support those opportunities. We are not going to stand in the way. We are going to help small businesses create jobs in this community. And, we are going to get this economy moving in the right direction again.
Councilman, how do you change Albany? Again, the Brennan Center, good government groups say Albany is the most dysfunctional government, arguably in the country. How do you go up there and bring about change in Albany if you're elected to the state senate?
I think one of the ways we change the way Albany does business is not some, rubber stamp ethics reform package of bills that people keep parading out as a campaign issue. I'd like to see term limits for state elected officials. And I don't know what that might look like. I'd like it to go on the ballot, but I think that the voters would overwhelmingly approve it. I think that public service, while it is a very rewarding career, should not be a career for life. It should be something that people do for a number of years. They contribute to their communities, and then they move on with their lives and they pursue other things. But I'd like to see term limits in Albany. I think that most of the problems that we see in Albany are surrounding people that have been there, quite frankly, for way too long.
Councilman, what do you make of the situation with Speaker Silver and Vito Lopez, the payout that's brought about a lot of controversy where people say, why is tax money being spent on things like this? What do you make of that?
Look, I'm outraged. I'm disappointed. I really didn't think that that's how things were done, but then again, in Albany, nothing should surprise anyone these days. So I'm just as frustrated as my constituents are, and it's probably even more of a compelling reason to not only enact reform, ethics reform, which is important, but it's not the only answer. We need term limits. Some people have been there way too long, and unfortunately, the only way to get them out would be to enact some restrictions on how long they're able to serve in public office.
Councilman, why leave the council? Again, you're 3-1 registration in your district, 3-1 Democrats to Republicans. Your constituents obviously like you, yeah. So is the Senate district. But your constituents say, look, we like Eric Ulrich, that's why we voted him in. Why, some people view it as you jumping ship on them. Why leave? You do very well with member item money, bringing back goods and resources to the district. Why leave?
I love the job that I have. I love what I do. I work with some really great people in the city council. But I had an opportunity this year to make a difference, to go to Albany, to represent the middle-class taxpayers of Queens County, to be a strong voice in a majority conference, to deliver resources back to this community. I simply think that I could be a very effective legislator in Albany. And, quite frankly, many of the things that I wanted to accomplish when I ran for city council 3 years ago, we've already accomplished, or they are already underway. Some of the issues that we talked about in the community, the quality of life concerns and the local issues, we've already addressed or they're being addressed. So Not to say that I've done everything that I wanted to do, but most of the stuff that we that we really want to focus on, we were able to accomplish already. So if there was a time to do it, this is the time.
Councilman, how do you overcome, again, the Addabbo name, his incumbency, the registration in the district? How do you overcome those things?
Look, there's no question. Joe has served in public office for a very long time. He's made a career out of it. He comes from a political family. His father was a very distinguished congressman for many years, represented this community. But I think that people are ready for new ideas, a fresh approach, and that this election and this campaign will really boil down to the issues that are important to the district. And people are going to take a look at Joe and where he stands on the issues, and they're going to take a look at me and where I stand on the issues. And if they're listening and they're paying attention and we can get the message out there, I think that we're looking pretty good for November.
Councilman, you've also been a vocal supporter of immigration reform. And we hear in Albany about a Dream Fund and a Dream Act. If you get elected, what will you do again to have these things passed or have these things become a reality?
I have always been a vocal and strong supporter of comprehensive immigration reform. It's something that should be addressed at the federal level, and quite frankly, I'm disappointed that President Obama has not made this a priority. In the first 2 years of his administration, he had Democratic majorities in both houses of Congress, and the only thing he rammed through the halls of Congress was a health care reform bill that most people didn't understand and a lot of people still don't want. So if the federal government is going to fail to act on immigration reform, and the responsibility falls on the states, I'm going to work with my colleagues in a very bipartisan way, similar to the way I've done on the city level, to reach some sort of compromise where we can make the lives just a little bit easier of those people who perhaps came here legally and their visas expired, or are here with very good intentions, working very hard, trying to support their families, but right now are living in the shadows. We have an obligation to help them too.
Councilman, why do you support hydrofracking?
Look, I support jobs. I support good-paying jobs. I see all the jobs that are being created in Pennsylvania and other states where hydrofracking is permitted. And then I look at New York and I look at 9.8 or 9.9% unemployment in the 5 boroughs. And I look at economies upstate which have been devastated by the recession and the economic downturn. And for anyone to say that we're going to outright ban hydrofracking and at the same time say that they're fighting for job creation is being hypocritical. It's being dishonest. It's simply not consistent. And so that's an area where me and my opponent disagree. I support creating good-paying jobs in New York State. I support turning our economy around. Joe Addabbo says he supports these things, but at the same time is towing the line of the ultra-left wing of his party, and that's always been his MO. He's never been an independent. He's always been somebody that does what he's told and votes the party line. I can't name 3 instances where he's disagreed with his party. I can name 10 where I've disagreed with mine. That's why I had a primary. But Joe is against hydrofracking. Why? I don't know. And hydrofracking in this district isn't even a big issue. It's not the #1 issue, and yet he's taken up this mantle as if this is the #1 thing on people's mind. I just think it shows how out of touch he is.
Councilman, the polls, depending on which one you look at, show that Governor Romney's behind President Obama. I know you're the chair of his NYC campaign. How important is the debate tonight for Governor Romney, and is he done? I mean, most people have counted him out.
Romney has a long way to go, so does Obama. Election day is 33 days away, I think, today. A lot can happen between now and then. The debates will be important. I don't underestimate Governor Romney. I think that he is qualified and articulate enough to spell out, what he wants to do with this country and how he wants to make things better. And as far as Barack Obama is concerned, I would say he's a failed president, and I will not be voting for him on November 6th. That shouldn't come as a surprise, not because I'm a Republican, but because I'm an American and I'm disappointed in my president, and I'm going to express that on Election Day. There are a lot of people who feel that way. In the Senate district, too, I don't foresee Romney doing all that bad. I mean, I know that the Democrats are hoping that Romney tanks, Obama surges, and that'll be enough to drag Joe back into office. I don't think it's going to be enough.
Councilman, thank you for being so generous with your time. Best of luck to you.
Thank you, Roberto. Thank you.